All right, we are live. Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Deconversion Stories. And today, technically, it's not really a deconversion story because Jim here has never been religious very much. However, both of us, and we're going to go over this a little bit in the chat today, have had people try and influence religiously in our lives. So we're going to discuss that for a little bit, and we're going to talk about, how we handled that sort of thing, and whether or not our family members ever tried to get us involved with stuff and whatnot. Because I was a believer way back, but as a kid, but I always had questions, and it all sounded like mythology to me the entire time anyways, right? Which most people know if they've watched my show for any time. But yeah, Jim, let's get into this a bit. So
Neil, man, I cannot believe this is the first time I've ever been on your show.
I know.
It's thinking back on it, like, no, I've never been. You've been on my show once.
Yeah.
You remember, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Without telling you. Oh yeah, it was the after party at the Faithless Forum when you came down and we shared a beer, and I think was it you and Aaron? Were you on together on the show and you did some religion trivia or something like that? I'd have to go back and look.
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Or was it me and Jim? It might have been me.
And Jim Majors. It might have been Jim Majors. Yeah.
Because Arn was there too, and he did that spiel with you guys. So.
Right. Okay. Well, I'd be interested to know. I tried going back through your library. I didn't see any, but am I your first cradle atheist on the show, or probably not?
No, I've had others.
Okay. Okay.
I've had others, but every single one of them was able to talk about people trying to influence them religiously, right? So.
Right. Okay. Well, shoot. As far as influence, I was real heavy in the martial arts from way early on. I started teaching it at age 15, actually, at an actual brick and mortar dojo. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you really can't get into any kind of Eastern martial arts without being exposed to some form of Buddhism, specifically Zen Buddhism. So I read Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, Zen in the martial arts. It's like one bowel movement. It's a quick read, and I highly recommend it even now. To Zen in the martial arts. The guy's last name is Hyams, Hyams. It's a really short, quick read, but it's really great. And the I Ching, and a lot of Eastern. So I dabbled with meditation, and now looking back at it, it was influential. I never called myself a Buddhist, of course. I've been an atheist since. I identified as agnostic at age 8, and atheist at 15. So it's a heavy influence with the Zen Buddhism and stuff. It kind of goes part and parcel with martial arts, and a lot of it is useful, but like certain practices, the whole concept of ki and chi, and that's spiritual energy that you can knock someone over without touching them. Okay. They can go overboard with that. So I've got some anecdotes about growing up, though. Although I'm a cradle atheist, I did get kicked out of Vacation Bible School my third summer there.
Wait, hold up a second.
Yep.
Cradle atheist, and you went to a Bible school?
Okay, here we go. My parents were Southern Baptist. What do you call someone that doesn't really believe it, but they just go? Like the Catholics that just go to mass just to talk to people? Or
we call them posers.
Oh man, that's good. Quick wit, Neil. Cheers. Okay, so my parents were. This was, when I was a kid, it was the 70s. My parents were both hippies. Dad came back from Vietnam, disillusioned from that. Mom was, raging flower child. So we all went to Southern Baptist Church every Sunday, quote unquote, religiously. They didn't ever talk about it. They identified as Southern Baptist, but they never, voiced any opinions. It was never talked about at the house. It was just something to go. It was a social event for them. Vacation Bible School for 3 summers straight was like summer school. It was just to get me out of mom and dad's hair, basically. So that third summer, I was 8 years old, and I write about it in my first book, available in fine bookstores everywhere and on Amazon. Most people believe in God. Can they all be wrong? So I write a little bit about that in my third summer of Vacation Bible School.
Yeah.
I had been asking, I wasn't aware of it, but I had been pissing off the teachers bad, just asking questions. Every time they would say something, I'd raise my hand. But what about this? But, I was just being genuinely curious, right?
For sure.
Pastor Simmons, the head pastor of this was a pretty big church too, pulled, it was at the end of class one day, pulled, my mom came to pick me up. He pulled her into the hallway, and I remember overhearing it like it was yesterday. I can tell you exactly what they said. He basically said, listen, Jimbo is, he's kind of causing some turmoil in the class. He's got other kids, questioning this stuff. He's asking too many questions. And the straw that broke the camel's back was that day. They were talking about Adam and Eve. They were talking about Cain. Cain killed Abel. So that became the first murder. Cain was what? He was banished to the land of Nod, right?
Yes.
And so that was the final question I had for them. I was like, and this is a 8-year-old. Land of Nod, like there were people in the land of Nod. Yes, Jimbo. I thought there was only 3 people on the planet at the time. Where did all these people in the land of Nod come from?
Isn't there a legend? I think if you go even further back into the old Hebrew scriptures from way back, there was another woman before Eve named Lilith.
Uh-huh.
Right. And she ended up starting Nod, apparently, according to some legend. And Cain ended up there with her. And as a matter of fact, there's a game I used to play when I was into the whole vampire thing called Vampire the Masquerade. And they actually, they form the whole story around that, where Cain and Lilith are like the mother, father vampires of the entire whole civilization of vampires.
That was a great game. Man, we are so alike, dude. Everything, it's crazy. Lilith, the actual name appears 3 times in the Bible. It's referred to a couple times. It refers to her. I don't think it actually comes out and says Lilith. Maybe once. I don't. But they allude to her 3 times in the Bible. Yeah. It's all extra biblical. So all the Lilith legends are extra outside of the canon, right? Mm-hmm. But that's the idea that Eve was an afterthought. Lilith came first. That's why she's having
none of that masculine bullshit.
Exactly. That's why she's a feminist. She's a feminist icon too. The vampire, the goth people love her, but also she's a feminist icon because she refused to bow to Adam's authority. That's why she got the boot, and then they brought Eve in. Yeah. Interesting.
She's walking around in Eden going, fuck this fucking misogynistic bullshit.
Exactly. That's exactly how the story goes. Yeah. Anyway, I got kicked out of VBS, and that was age 8. And my dad's best friend, David, who was a pastor, always come around the house. They'd, smoke a doob, whatever. It's the 70s. They're all, whatever.
A pastor I could get along with.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah. I don't know if his congregation knew that, but he was over at the house all the time. David was his name. And my mom would, if they ever got on religion, which when you're toking it up, sometimes the big questions, that's common to talk about when you're high.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right. My mom would invariably, let me go get Jimbo. She would grab me, pull me into the conversation. She would show me off like a show pony, like listen to him, like I would some sort of like, and I was just a little kid asking questions. Apparently she was really impressed by my already then knowledge of the Bible and its contradictions and whatnot. Mm-hmm. So here I am arguing at age 8 through all the way up to, my grade school years, arguing. And I think ultimately, I didn't even realize it. Inadvertently, I honed my counter apologetics at an early age before I even
knew what it was.
Actually, yes, before I even knew. Yeah, I didn't even. I was firm on the belief that I never called myself an atheist until age 15, and then of course with the rise of all the new atheists, the Four Horsemen. Once those books came out, boom, it was off and running after that.
It's funny how we get branded as new atheists once YouTube kicked in.
Right. I'm 52. I'm not a very new atheist. I know, right?
Exactly. You're younger than me. Oh, wow. Okay. I thought for some reason I thought you were like a year or 2 older than me, but you're younger than me.
I think I'm in between Matt and Aaron. Didn't Matt just hit 50 years and Aaron's like 56? Yeah. So I'm like right smack in the middle.
Aaron's 57, I believe. Yeah, I'm 53. So, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Awesome. I'm actually wearing his shirt, and he signed it for me right there.
Oh, that's badass.
You can't really see it now because it's faded, but
is that from his South Africa trip, or is that an older shirt?
Oh, he signed this last year at Fifth Forum.
Oh, right. Yeah. So my parents they called themselves Southern Baptists. And since then, my mom has gravitated onto agnosticism, which I believe I'm the main cause of that. And dad has over the years drifted into this Native American animism, Father
Oh, yeah.
Sky, Mother Earth kind of thing.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
very like, he speaks of spirituality in the most vague, nebulous way that you cannot understand.
Everybody
He doesn't even know what he's talking about.
right? Who
But
can
yeah,
really tell when you say, "Oh, you're spiritual"? What do you mean by that? They don't really know. I find or they come
exactly.
up with some mumbo jumbo-y, word salady sounding nonsense, right?
But the coolest part is they were. I think it was because they're hippies, and they were very lenient. They were very open to outside ideas, which was great. They were super intelligent too. They had great jobs, and they let me make up my own mind because, like Neil, you've probably said it before. You've heard people say it. What were you raised as? You know what that says to me? What were you inculcated into?
Yes.
Raised as means I'm going to push all my ideas into you. Raised as means you were indoctrinated. How about what did you grow up as? What did you come? Because until the age 8, that light bulb may or may not, the age of reason, that light bulb may or may not have even been on at the time. It might not have come on until 12. So once that light bulb came on, I was in a position to totally make up my own mind with no indoctrination, no one telling me. My parents let me decide. And when I told them I'm agnostic, they said, "Oh, cool. Explain it to me, let's hear about it." There was no judgment. It was beautiful.
That's awesome. That's parenting done right, by the way.
Hell yeah.
I mean, clearly it's a good idea to instill decent morals and values into your kids. But when it comes to belief systems, I think you should let them pick and choose for themselves.
Yep.
That's the way.
I don't even know your deconversion story. I'm admittedly, man, the thing about being a creator, you just don't get much time to be a consumer anymore. So
Right.
Embarrassingly, I don't watch a lot of your stuff. I mean, how were you raised?
My story's a little on the unique side, and I actually, almost a year ago, on April 1st last year, my show for that day we did a switcheroo for the April Fool's gag, I guess you could say, where my friend Randolph interviewed me on my show instead of me interviewing someone else. And
That's Randolph Richardson?
That's correct, yeah.
Randolph Richardson. He's been trying to get on the show.
Oh, you got to have him on, dude. He's the president of the Canadian Atheists. And I'm the
Canadian Atheists.
Yeah. I'm a community advocate for them.
If he is watching this, I don't say my life's an open book, and I don't talk crap. I don't speak ill of the dead or absent. That's one of my mottos I live by. So I would say this to his face just as easy, but I am a little concerned. Okay, I'd like to have him on the show. He's got a lot of good to add to it. One concern I have is, though, I've heard on the street that he was once a professional troll. I don't know if you know about it. I'll ask him directly.
He was, but he wouldn't bring that into the show.
Yeah, okay. I just don't know. How does that work?
He was paid to do it.
That's
something you talk to him about, and he'll tell you all.
Yeah, I'm going to totally. There's a couple people waiting to try to get in. We're booked solid all the way through next week.
Dude, I'm
Randolph
in May.
So I'm writing it down. I'm going to find Neil the 604 Atheist and Randolph Richardson. Well, I'm going to give I'm going to give an announcement. There's a reason why we're only booked till middle of next week.
Yeah.
So you and Neil and Randolph Richardson, and that'll explain your deconversion, huh? So I'm going to go back and watch that.
Yeah. Well, I can give you kind of a nutshell of it.
All right.
The funny thing is I was adopted. I was adopted as a baby. My original parents, who found me in the year 2000, they're Christians. And of course, my dad's side, they're Catholic, like staunch Catholics. So having a kid outside of wedlock was a big no-no in the 60s, right? So I was put up for adoption. And when I finally actually met my gran, she had no idea that I existed. They never told her. Yeah. So she was all crying and stuff. She says, "I wish I was different." But I'm like, it's not your fault. It's just, don't worry about it. You've got me in your life now. So let's work from that. But anyways, I never held any anger towards them because I understood. Because my folks told me that I was adopted when I was about 7, I guess. So I knew from a very young age that I had other parents that had given me up because they couldn't keep me at the time. And I'm fine with that. I was raised as a Jew. So I grew up as a Jew. And had my bar mitzvah, the whole spiel, and somewhere in my late teens, early 20s, I decided it was all fucking horseshit, as I had already been settling on that. And then I got into paganism, and I got into Wicca, and I got into all kinds of stuff, right? But eventually, somewhere in my mid to late 30s, I was like, it's all fucking horseshit. All of it. All this woo-woo nonsense from the East and all this fucking Western fucking religious bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's all made up. So I became an atheist.
So what'd your parents say when you left Judaism originally?
Not too much. My dad, I don't think ever knew.
How old were you?
He passed away before I started telling people I was
bar mitzvah is 13, so it was after that.
13. Yeah. Oh yeah, long after.
Right. Wow, man. Yeah. See, I'm at a huge disadvantage as a YouTube host, being a cradle atheist. It seems cool, and I am the minority among the atheist community. I know that, but it's a disadvantage because like my co-host Chris, he worked at a Christian bookstore. He was off into it, right? He knows the Bible inside and out. I had to learn it from scratch, learning it as I've never read the Bible as a believer, so I've never seen it from that side of it. I've never gone to church as a believer. I've never prayed once in my life. That's kind of weird. There's a Reformed Episcopalian named Mark Woolsey. He's going to, I think we got him planned to come on the show. I'm going to pray with him for the first time ever. And I told him, listen, I told him, listen, Zachary Moore did it with him on our show once before. And I said, just like Zach did, I'm sure he was thinking the same thing I'm going to be thinking this is all bullshit. And I can go through the motions, but you can't, your belief is it's not a choice. It's a realization. You can't make yourself believe. So yes, that's right. I'll just go through the motions with you, but yeah, I'm going to pray with that Episcopalian guy. But
yeah, our beliefs aren't a choice. We're either convinced of something or we're not. It's pretty much that simple.
Like this napkin, no matter how much I try, I cannot believe that it's black. It's like it's like that. You either believe it or you don't.
No, you could take a Jiffy marker to it if you wanted.
Right, true. Yeah. But that's crazy. So yeah, Courtney and Chris, they come from religious backgrounds, so they can, when we have a religious guest on the show, they just feel so more comfortable talking to them. They have so much more in common, and Chris can attack it from both sides, and me, I'm just like an outsider, and I, like looking in from outside the bubble. There's some things, even certain terminology and lingo, deep in. Depending on what, Mormons especially, they got their lingo. Oh, Scientologists, forget about it. They got a whole glossary of just specialized jargon that it's like inside jokes, inside talk, that outsiders don't know about.
I had Chris Shelton on. We talked about that too.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hey, so that's I know, man. I see. Being a cradle atheist, we only burned up 19 minutes, and most of your guests, they go on and on about how they unfortunately suffered probably all kinds of emotional, mental trauma coming out of their religion. And you know what I like? I looked in your description section. Every video in your description section, you have a list of links to help people that are leaving religion. And boy, I clicked on every one of those links. Some I didn't even know existed. And man, that shows where your heart is, and just hats off to you. That's just a beautiful thing.
Oh, thanks, brother. One of there's kind of a multitude of reasons why I decided to start doing this show. I like talking to people, and I like getting to know the people in our community. And I think this is a good way to do so. And they get to know me a little bit too, my ridiculousness and horrible sense of humor and all that. And I also really, really like the stories. I think they're important. I think they need to be heard because there's so many people out there. I'll guarantee you there's so many people that are fence sitters and that are having doubts and they're afraid because they don't realize that there's more of us out there. They probably don't even realize that that they should be calling themselves an atheist because they don't believe anymore. So if these stories get out there and the more they spread out there, the more people can go, holy shit, I can identify with that. And then they know right then and there that there is a community of people waiting to welcome.
Neil, if you'll indulge me, I'm going to switch to another screen. You just made me think of something. And sure. Of course, my computer is okay. I'm going to switch to another screen because that just made me think. This only happened. Our show's 3 years old in April. And this has happened maybe a half a dozen times. I'm just going to share one. If it will come up and it's still thinking, please enjoy the music while you're waiting. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, maybe. Oh, is that really? You knew this? I don't know the name of it.
I used to work in a record store.
Oh, here we go. Okay. Name withheld. I don't know if they want to be out there or not. It was a private email. Hello, I had a very conservative Christian upbringing. I spent my entire childhood being afraid of eternal punishment that I now know doesn't exist. Sometimes I'm unsure if I will ever overcome that trauma. Anyway, around November of last year, something inside of me decided to search on the word atheist in YouTube just to see how evil I've been taught they all were. I clicked on one of your videos first because it looked like a debate with Christians. My expectation was to see an angry atheist making a total fool out of himself, but I couldn't have been more wrong. This was an hour of two friends just talking and getting along. The more videos I watched, the more conflicted I felt. Part of me was scared and uncomfortable, but part of me was climbing out of the ground to the sunlight. Man, I'm getting a little worked. Every time I read this, Jesus. All right, keep it together, Jim. You have to realize I had spent over 20 years in the warmth of a loving God, living only to evangelize and bring the good word to those around me. It has been several months now, but I'm happy to announce to the world that I've shed my delusions and now call myself an atheist. I know you're probably very busy. I just wanted to tell you the effect you had on me. Thank you so much. Oh my God. Dude, come on.
And I've gotten a couple of emails myself that people say that they've felt inspired to finally call themselves an atheist or whatnot. And I've yet to have those particulars on the show because I'd like to hear their stories. They said that's too early. Give me some time. Yada, yada. So eventually.
Oh, you're not able to read it even anonymously? Because that would be awesome shit to hear.
Yeah. Who knows? They weren't comfortable doing it, I think. The two that I've gotten are from people quite even the deep South, from very, very ultra-religious families, and they're not quite comfortable being present on a medium like this or a format like this where they would tell their stories because they'd be afraid, I guess. So in time, when they're ready, they'll come.
Yeah. There's a way you don't have to go video. You can go audio only. A lot of our guests do that.
I know that. And I told them
most of our guests are fringe. They might even be atheists. They're fringe believers. You know, the ones that think the sun has a fifth dimension. You know, those kind of people. They usually don't go video. Oh, dude, I had one. What was his name? It's not out yet. We've already done you know how we pre-record. We don't usually go live. And so I clean it up later and I package it nice and neat. But so the interview is already over, but I don't think it's out yet. And I forget Alien Misro. Do you know him? He's kind of popular.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Alien Misro. Yeah. So Chris interviewed him. It was 2 hours long. So I chopped it up into part 1 and part 2. And wow, I mean, great guy. He seemed fun to talk to. Chris had a ball, doing the interview, but it's some really out there stuff. So be watching for that. I'll check that out. So the sun, the center of the sun, the core of the sun is heaven. The core of the earth is hell. The entire.
See, you think it would be the other way around.
I know, right? No, I might be getting 2 interviews mixed up. We do a bunch of fringe people, but he's one of those collective consciousness guys that thinks because since colonies of ants work together, then our cells work together.
Yes.
Hive
mind. I was on a
stuff.
show the other day, and he was mentioning a little bit like that.
Yep. But yeah, it's 2 hours of that. So get ready, people. It's something. It might be, like I love to fall asleep to Ricky Gervais and Carl Pilkington, Stephen Merchant, old XFM radio shows. Mm-hmm. So this might be fun to fall asleep to. I know a lot of people love those 1-2 hour shows, something to fall asleep to. So that might be fun.
Who knows? This guy, from what I have heard, because briefly, he sounds like he's pretty out there. So I'll definitely check that out. But
just the greatest guy, I mean, that's the cool part about this show is, our core values, of course, Atheist Edge is building bridges, finding common ground, having fun. We've stuck to that. We got our 23 commandments. If you look on the description section of any of our videos, you'll see our 23 commandments in there. And we live by those. And which leads me to maybe, I guess, so we chatted before the showtime, and I asked you if it was all right that so this will be a Neil the 604 Atheist exclusive. This will be the first time I'm publicly announcing this, but I don't know if this is the right time. Did you want to keep talking a little more about deconversion, or?
Well, if you want to tell them, that's fine by me. You can do that anytime you want, man. It's your gig. You can do it anytime. We can continue chatting. We can cut a little early and go into an after party.
We can. You know me. I'm all about tangents anyway. Let me just get this official announcement out of the way. I've already notified my hosts and a couple of her one close friend in particular. After I read my announcement, I'll tell you what his response to it is. Pretty funny. All right, here we go. A Neil 604 Atheist exclusive. It dawned on me recently that my passions have always come in cycles of intense 3-year bursts, followed by a 4th year of general burnout before I quit altogether. First, it was teaching karate. So it was 3 years of teaching karate, but by the 4th year, it felt more of a job than a passion. Then it was tournament level MMA fighting. Again, 3 years, and then a 4th year of just feeling burned out. Then competitive chess. Then a really unhealthy addiction to World of Warcraft and a hardcore raiding guild. A lot of you can identify with that. And then it was, I was reading a lot, apologetics, biblical history, biblical archaeology, which led me to doing a lot of research. And I ended up writing 2 books out of that, but that was a similar amount of time out of my life. But then I got burned out. I was thinking about doing a 3rd book on all my military stories from Iraq and, Central and South America, the drug war. And
I would read that.
You would?
Oh yeah.
I might resurrect that Phoenix. But anyway, I burned out. And then after I published those 2 books, I started the show. So this show started exactly 3 years ago this Wednesday. And just like clockwork, it appears that I'm looking down the barrel of that final 4th burnout year, a year of dispassion and burnout, just like all the other passions I've ever had. But I'm not going to let that happen this time. So with that, I am officially announcing that I'm going to be leaving the show starting Monday, 30th of March. Time will tell if this is just an extended hiatus or a permanent departure. I'm expecting it to be the latter, but I'm going to give it a few months and see how things go. I have another passion, when you're standing on a rock in the middle of a creek, you don't jump into the creek. You look for another rock to jump onto. And I think I found another rock to jump onto, and I'm not going to announce that until I get going with it. The histrionics, the infighting, and the us versus them mentality that is so common in our atheist community right now, it's something I did not plan for, something I didn't expect, nor is it something I signed up for. So my co-hosts, Courtney and Chris, have already been notified. There are right now 17 videos in the can, meaning they're edited and they're ready to go out. So I appear in some of those 17. Oh, and we got 4 more. I got 4 more shows booked. I'm not going to cancel those. I'm going to go ahead and do them. So I still will appear after the 30th of March, but it will be in a pre-recorded capacity. Those will run their course after those 17 videos. That gives Courtney and Chris enough time to reconfigure, make adjustments to the show. Since I wrote this, Chris, they both have full-time jobs. Chris said he's not in a position to take the helm of a full-time atheist gig. And Courtney splits her time between this show and in time. Yeah. Right. So it's damn near impossible. And plus her full-time job. So worst case scenario, this show I
don't want to hear the words, Jim. I don't want to hear the words.
Show might be at the very worst case scenario, the show will become just a limited. It'll be archived, and it might it'll be like buying a dance. How often does she put out a video? I don't know, but I'm like
a patron of hers, so
yeah. She puts out quality stuff, but it's very rare, and we're used to doing every other day. So at the worst, my show might become archived, and it will just have maybe a show, a little something once a month, maybe. I don't know, but hopefully Chris will rise to the challenge, and he loves to do his live stuff. And even if he does one of those a week, that might be fun for a while. Anyway, my equipment will remain at their disposal. So we drew up a contract years ago, and so according to the contract, this is me bowing out. I'm still a part of the show technically until I decide to leave forever. All my equipment's still at their disposal until I'm going to give myself until this summer. All right, at this summer, at which time I will have made my final decision whether or not to ever return or not. So
I hope you do, dude, because I think what you do is valuable. I think you've spoken to many well-known people out there that keep this community going. And yeah, there's a lot of infighting, but you know what? The problem with the whole infighting thing is whatever bridges are being burned, they can still be rebuilt. And I'm trying to convince a few people that I know personally that are having issues to fucking put this shit aside, because you know what? Ultimately, we all need to be together. We all need to band together, or else everything will crumble. We can't let this shit happen, dude. You're too important to let go, Jim. So, I'm going to be in your corner cheering your ass on to try and keep this. Maybe you're feeling a little burnt out about it right now, but take a break. Take a few months off. Go do some shit.
Yeah.
And see how you feel after that. That's my suggestion. Because I don't want to.
What is this? The end of March, April, May, June. Okay, let's give it till let's give it to June 1st, or let's give it to sometime in June. I'll make another announcement on the show at that time. That'll either be a final goodbye or that'll be okay. I'm fresh. What was it?
I got to come on your show still, like officially, not just the Faithless Forum thing.
Oh yeah, like an actual.
Yeah,
man, you do, don't you? Okay, I see the carrot you're dangling. I'm gonna I'll wait until June and make a final. It'll either be a final goodbye or okay, I'm back and I'm refreshed. I'm not gonna let all the us versus them get to me. But I had a friend that I let him know, a close friend that I let know before I officially announced it, and he said I'm not gonna say his name, but it starts with an S and it ends with a T. McRae. I'm sure he won't mind me. I'm sure he's not going to mind me saying that. It wasn't a private chat, but I'm sure he's not going to care. He's kind of talking like, "Hey man, do what you got to do. I kind of warned you. It's a shit show."
He's always in the center of them all, too. It seems
he just recently, a week or so ago, he called me a beautifully naive, and I retorted with, "Well, you are a reluctant black hole of drama," and we both agreed. He said, "Blah blah blah blah." This, you can't say I didn't tell you. Oh, the atheist community writ large is not. You think that they're the idealistic group of critical thinkers. That's what you originally think, but then you come to find out it's full of egotistical crybabies who would rather promote dogmatic positions rather than learn about how to be a better thinker, which in a lot of ways, I can't disagree. Let me say that.
There are people like that. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Anyway, that's it. So I've got, let me give you my lineup. Now, this is what's booked. And remember, I got 17 shows that are ready to go out. So you won't even notice any difference for like the first month and a half. All right. So people are still going to see me like, I thought you left. No, this was recorded earlier.
And I just bought an Atheist Edge shirt too.
Though that Teespring will still be up.
All right.
Chris is going to take that over. The Patreon, all that's going to still be up. So I've got, I'm going to be on Mama Atheist show tomorrow, 1300 Central, to play Quiplash again. A few rounds of that. That was really fun last time. And then the part 2 of Kyle Curtis on Monday. I don't know if we even want to bring up that, but I've got more questions to ask him. And then Nick from In Time will be Tuesday. And then that's the last show I have booked. After that, I am officially washing my hands of this.
You sure you don't want to sneak one more in?
Really?
We lost you sound-wise.
Oh, really?
Yep. There you go. No, it's dropped level. I can hear you, but it's not very loud.
Interesting. Did that make a screeching sound?
It did, but Yeah, your volume dropped off, and I heard it pop.
Yeah, good.
Well, I can hear you, but it's not as loud as it was.
Oh, we'll try this.
Technical difficulties, folks. No, I can't hear you at all.
That's oh, now you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay. I'm just going to go to the laptop mic. I don't want to screw your show up any more than I already have. I don't know what's wrong with that. Anyway, yeah, shoot. A fourth show? Do you want to be my last show? I'll just do a Wednesday one. What are you doing? Well, we'll work it out after the show.
Yes, I usually do.
Wednesday.
My show runs Mondays, Wednesdays, and Saturdays. So.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do two on Tuesday.
I'm actually going to be on a couple of shows tomorrow. I've got I'll be on the Whirly podcast again with David. Tomorrow, I think it's 10 a.m. my time. And then right after David's show, I'm going to be on with MathPeg at about 12:15 to who knows.
MathPig is awesome.
He's hilarious.
Oh my gosh, so much fun. Yeah, we'll work something out. Yeah, that would be great. I'd be honored to have you as my last interview ever. What else? Shit. So deconversion, cradle atheist. Parents actually parented correctly. They didn't raise me with indoctrination, which was a beautiful thing.
Yes, thank you, parents, for that.
Yep.
That's why I said earlier. That's how you parent right. You let your kids make up their own minds. Just say, hey, listen, there's all these options. You could check it all out. Make up your own mind.
It's surprising how few parents actually do that. And you always hear, how were you raised? And that gets my goat. How were you raised? You're basically admitting to indoctrination. How about, in what religion what religious ideology did you grow up? You know, before the age of 8, to say that you were anything is to say that your parents were telling you what to be. Until that light bulb comes on, all you should be getting is just not information on what other people on earth believe and don't believe.
Mm-hmm. It's funny because a lot of people, when they come out of belief systems, they're angry, which is understandable because they feel like they've been lied to. And I always try to remind people that it's not that you were lied to, because the people that taught you this stuff believed it. So they didn't think that they were lying to you. It's not like they were intentionally telling you lies. They were telling you things that they believed was true. So you can't be angry at them. It's this whole system is what people should be angry at, because I mean, it should be quite clear now with everyone praying for the coronavirus to end. And the only thing that's going to end the coronavirus is science, not religion. So it should be very clear that this deity that everyone seems to love and other deities that people elsewhere seem to love clearly don't exist, or else this thing would have been handled already if they claim to love us.
We asked Dr. John Ferrer last night on a show. Chris hosted it, but I was in it. We asked about the virus, and it was a fan question. It had to do with, well, what did God create this virus? And if so, what kind of message is he trying to get out to everybody? And Dr. John Ferrer, doctor of apologetics at Southwestern Baptist Theological Seminary, said, and I quote, "God didn't create this virus." And I could kick myself because he went on another tangent. I should have stopped him and said, well, if he didn't create it, who did? Because the only other alternative based on I don't know if Satan has creative abilities. Can he create life? I don't know. But that would be the only other alternative. If God didn't create this virus, then who did?
You and I could create life. Well, we're part and parcel of creating life.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
I guess Satan could too if he wanted. But here's the kicker. He doesn't exist.
Oh, there's the whole that fly in the ointment. Yeah. And Carl Sagan said, if you ever want to create an apple pie from scratch, first you must start with a universe. You must start by making a universe. Because when you say I baked apple pie from scratch, okay. Oh, so you went out and even if you raised your own wheat and ground it into flour, that's still not from scratch because you still had to find the wheat seeds. Where'd you get the wheat seeds? And it keeps regressing all the way back to you got to start with the universe.
Yeah. All turtles all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite expression.
Oh, I noticed you said the name of the virus twice just now, so I don't know if it's far enough into the video where but I don't know if you know this. If you don't, but there's
I don't know who that's directed
going on. What was it?
I don't know who that was directed at. You or me, Mikey? Was specific.
Oh, what did Mike say?
He said, "Oh, did you not see that I popped? Can you not see when I pop these up?
It pops up only for a second. There it goes.
Yeah. Well, it'll pop up until I take it down, right?
Mikey Famine.
Yeah, he also co-hosts the In Time from time to time.
Oh, is he one of the okay? Like there's another guy with my last name, something Hall over there. There's a couple guys that. No. I'm thinking of a different show. Shit, I forget now. I'm thinking of the Daily Atheist with
Chris Mallard.
Chris Mallard, another upstanding man, just a class act. That guy.
Oh, Chris is amazing, and he'll be on my show too, by the way. And,
see, we're all just jerking each other. I like to reach out. Like we had Sasha Sagan on the show, nice. And how many people have reached out to her? But then once I got her on the show, then I see her on everyone's show now. It's like awesome. It's like we're all looking on other people's show. Oh, you got him. Oh, I want him too.
Yeah, I know, and that's what I do when I say, "Oh, by the way, you should go on my friend's show because he'd love to have someone like you on the show." Right? And I do that with David Worley. I do that with the Daily Atheist with Chris. I do that with other people. Right? This is what it's about, man. This is just,
exactly just like Thomas Westbrook says. Which coincidentally today's Thomas Westbrook's birthday. So yes, go in and flood his inbox. When he said a rising tide raises all the boats, that's absolutely right. It's a win-win. Your success equals everyone else's partial. Everyone goes up a notch. When Neil the 604 gets 10,000 views, we all go up a notch.
Yeah, exactly. I do what I can to help support the community, right? So, and I can
which leads me back to my my official announcement. One of the reasons I'm leaving, and you know what? I was naive. I admit that I was naive going into this, thinking that I could make a change. And you said, when a bridge is burnt, it's always possible to rebuild it. It seems like lately, every bridge I do try to build, I end up burning two more. That's why it feels like it's running on a beach. It feels like 2 steps forward, 1 back. There are shows, although Thomas Westbrook is right. However, there are shows that are completely devoted. Their entire structure, their entire business model is built on histrionics, creating drama, spectacles, shit slinging. That's how they get their views. That's how they're going to operate. And people want to watch. I think they are I think they're the viruses in the community, and I don't know how to put that. I don't know how to
don't fuel their fire. That's how you deal with those guys.
Okay, here's the deal. If you completely ignore completely ignore all my peers? I don't want to be that guy. I want to engage.
No.
Not just with the viewers and the fans, but also my peers, my fellow YouTubers.
Sure.
So, I mean, you have to be, and I don't want to live in an echo chamber. And our show doesn't block, ban, or censor. We don't block, ban, or censor. Right. You look at my Twitter, our Facebook, our YouTube, we have never blocked anyone ever. No, we let the trolls be trolls.
Yeah, that's right. And you should. You have to. When I see trolls and stuff, the people that troll me, and it happens, I just laugh. I don't give a shit. You can do whatever you want. Say whatever you want. I don't care. But what I do have a problem with is when Darth fucking Dawkins, or Duncan Atheism as he's called now, sends his little peons into my chat during like the after shows, challenging me to a debate. And I'm like, first of all, I don't fucking debate because I don't see that there is one. So, I don't deal with guys like that because Dawkins is kind of a dick, and he always has this little method that he likes to try and run around you like those dolphins that fish in the ocean, where they put little smoke or mud bubbles around to trap the fish. That's what Dawkins tries to do when you talk to him.
Oh,
he's a little fucking shit stain. So I have no idea. I have no desire to even talk to that clown. Pretty much.
I've heard the name. See, and that's the thing. That first interview with Kyle Curtis, I was purposely not in the loop. I really didn't know which questions everyone was wanting me to ask. But again, whose show is it? Whose interview was it? It wasn't yours. The people that were most adamant, most pissed off about, you forgot to ask this, you didn't hold his feet to the fire on this. You're the ones that are unable to get an interview with him because you're the type of person you are, and you're confrontational and you're hostile, and you'll never get an interview with him. I did more than all of you put together. I might not have asked all the questions you wanted me to ask, but I've already achieved more than you have. And, with this Dawkins thing, see, even Neil, nice, low-key, laid-back Neil. Do you see how he just talked about Darth Dawkins? And see, that creates, and I'll just be a little bit critical on you. That creates a little bit of hostility. Now they'll come back even harder. And I don't know how. I
encourage that because it makes my views go up.
Okay, fair enough. I would rather stay at 8,000 subscribers forever than play drama games and get to 100,000. I would rather stay where I am, hands down.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not doing this for the sake of drama. I don't. They just come in and I laugh at them, and I always say to them, "Thank you for upping my watch time." Right. So, and then
that's a nice tactic. Yeah.
I think it's funny because once I started saying that to them, they slowly sort of stopped coming over. So I didn't get the watch time anymore.
They challenge you to a formal debate. The thing about formal debates is, in my experience, I've been to them, and we have a Bible and Beer consortium here in Dallas-Fort Worth. So we have them here at bars all over the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Mm-hmm. So we go to them, and they're like, it's Matt Dillahunty versus, it's big stuff, right? Yeah. And it's only 1/3 of it is worth watching, because the first third is the opening statement that takes it 30 minutes. It's just them reading off a piece of paper, then another opening statement, another 30 minutes. And then the cross-exam, pretty interesting. If it was all cross-exam, debates would be worth it. And the Q&A at the end, of course, is by far hands down. If it was just a Q&A, that'd be even better. A Q&A, mix a Q&A with like just an informal chat. That's a much more productive, situation, I think. That's what we don't do formal debates on my show, but just like last night with that Dr. John Ferrer, 2 hours, that might as well have been a debate, but it was civil, it was amicable. He even left at the end. He goes, "Man, it's a pleasure to go on an atheist show like this, where they've done their homework and they're not trying to get you in gotcha questions, and they're being open-minded." He admitted it, and so did we, and it was awesome. If the atheist community could be like that without having to feel the need to somehow create an echo chamber for myself and get all this hostile influence out, and I think it's getting worse, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what? I'm in agreement there. I do see it kind of. It's almost like it's. Dare I say it? Becoming popular to do it, and it bugs the shit out of me. And fuck, I just wish people would be better. I always try to encourage people to be the best versions of themselves, and apparently, some of those versions, they're assholes. So, what can I say?
And it's always ironic. It's always ironic when someone comes up to a 21-year combat Marine with 4 black belts and says to me, "Don't be a pussy." What? Really? Don't be a pussy? My entire adult life has been a career that involves making bad guys room temperature. You really think I'm a pussy? It's not that. I want us all to get along. I'm going to Rodney King it here. I just want us all to get along.
Yeah, I had to say that earlier today when I think it was about the comment about Aaron hating me because of my hair. And I said,
he said you have better hair than him.
Yeah. On Worley's podcast today.
Both of you have luxurious manes that I would kill for.
Yeah, Aaron's got pretty decent fucking hair too. He's got nothing to cry about. But he's right though. You hit a certain age and the hair, it still grows, but instead at our age, our and Mi's age, it grows into the split ends. So it does this, and it doesn't get any length, right? Because I used to be able to tuck it into the back of my pants, and so did he. But now it's just that splits and it grows into the split ends. So I definitely have to go and see my what the hell is it? This is great. This is
someone in the chat.
Yeah, you can see the chat if you look up to your right. You'll see private and live chats.
Oh no shit! Oh, look at that.
Yeah. So I think I'm going to leave it right there. Hashtag fuck Neil.
Hey,
talk about starting drama.
Always a great little pick me up when you see those. And most of them are just being funny, but every once in a while, oh, there's Richard Madsen. Peace and respect to you, my brother.
Hey,
another
Richard.
Great human being.
Yeah, I had him on my show just recently too. He's a good interview.
Critical Cripple. Hopefully, hey Dave. I don't know if you know about Mama Atheist's show tomorrow afternoon, my time, but we're going to do Quiplash again. That'd be funny. So we had a great time, and Critical Cripple, Dave and I got really shit-faced last time. I mean, real bad. I barely got out with my ass, and then apparently Dave fell asleep, and they left the mic on him, and he just snored through the last half.
That's fucking brilliant. I was on a stream like that once with my buddy. He hasn't been in the scene for quite a while, but he was called Another Freaking Atheist, my friend Don.
Ooh.
And we did like an 8-hour stream at his place when I went up to visit him up in Kamloops. And I was at the end, by the end of it, towards the end, all you saw was the top of my head. Through the end of it, yeah.
And this other guy in your chat, Steve S 1964. It used to be SS 1964. I don't know how common it is with a lot of consumers or creators, but Steve has been he's been forefront in just what can happen when YouTube decides to screw with you, because he's not a troll. He really puts people's feet to the fire in the comment section, but it's nothing that should be, blocked or banned or deleted. But he's had to change his YouTube profile several times. Every time he comments on my channel, it goes to the spam folder. It's something that I have to review first. I don't know why, because it's not, it's totally anodyne. So this guy just gets fucked. I don't know if that happens with other people, but he's just had the worst luck with YouTube. Oh, and purple rhymes with orange. Awesome. Yeah. When I was first we didn't even have 1,000 subs yet, and he
sent me 1,000 a while ago.
Oh, I thought you'd been over 1,000. So you got monetized?
Oh yeah, I'm monetized. Yeah.
Nice.
I even have super chats. No one ever uses them, really. Actually, some have, but
I'll make that happen next time I remember. Shit, that's awesome. David Worley's in here, man. All the cool kids.
Yeah, Worley's in here. Yeah,
I can see everybody now. I didn't even know that this had I like this little this platform. This is cool.
It's decent, and I pay for this. Like I pay I think it's like $18 a month or something. I pay, and I can use my branding. StreamYard.
Yeah.
StreamYard.
Yeah, my co-host Chris, when we do go live, after YouTube got rid of doing like the instant Google Hangouts.
Yeah,
that's why we stopped doing live, and that's when I went to pre-recorded. But Chris has been going live a few times. He's figured out how to do Google Hangouts through StreamYard. Mm-hmm. So he still has to show me how to do it, but not that it's going to matter at this point. Unless I do decide to, take a few months and then clear my head, maybe come back.
We'll see. We'd missed you way too much.
I doubt it. I was thinking about it earlier. If someone like Matt or Aaron were to pop smoke, that'd be huge news. That might even make it on like BuzzFeed and stuff, but that would be like, here's my analogy. Matt or Aaron leaving the community would be like a Imperial Star Destroyer. Just, remember how it crashed into the Death Star and it just started crumbling and boom. And I would just be this little TIE fighter that bounces off one of the shields on a Rebel cruiser, and it would just go poof. It would just be a little poof.
I think that's the best description I've heard.
Yep.
I recently just watched the final Star Wars in the Skywalker saga.
Episode 9? I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good. I didn't.
It couldn't be any worse than 8. 8 was probably worse than the prequels. Even it was the worst one ever.
Yeah.
And I can give probably half a dozen reasons why, and a lot of them are controversial, meaning like forced diversity, which usually works counter to what you're trying to do in the first place.
Mm.
And just huge story plots, and the entire segment when they went to that casino and they're riding around those beasts, and it ended with that. Nothing came of that. There was nothing. That was completely just a waste of 40 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't get that either. Although the scenes were kind of cool, but I didn't get that.
And Princess Leia, they did that all wrong. They should have just, okay, spoiler alert, cover your ears. They should have just let her die out into the coldness of space and having her come back to life, resuscitate, and then die in 3 minutes later. What? And then why not Admiral Akbar? Totally, it would have been his swan song for him to have been the one that warp drived into the enemy ship, into the Death Star. Instead of like this brand new character that they rectally derived this feminist character. She had about maybe 6 lines, and then they kill her off. We had no emotional investment in her.
Well, yeah, I didn't, for just as the movies themselves, I realized that they kind of went a little snaky with the plots and stuff like that. But they're entertaining, so I didn't really care. But
7, okay, I didn't see the original, episode 4, 1977. My parent, I remember my mom. I remember it like it was yesterday. Hey, we're going to the movies. What do you want to see? And she had the newspaper open. And little known fact, the week that the original Star Wars came out was also the week that Close Encounters of the Third Kind came out. And I had been hearing more about that, so we went and saw Close Encounters. I could kick myself. I did end up eventually going to see the original Star Wars pretty early on, but I could have seen it opening day, which would have been badass. So when I was watching episode 7 as a grown-ass man, episode 7, I sat there, and for the first and only time in my life, I became 12 years old again. I shrunk in that chair, and I was watching the true heart of Star Wars. That episode 7 is maybe even better than episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. I might put it at number 1.
No. Okay, interview's over. Holy shit! I made somebody else all you out their nose. No. Come on, man. Episode 4 and 5 are like the best of the originals. Little dudes in fucking Muppet suits running around for Return of the Jedi was the.
I wouldn't want to redo 5 with our current technology, but if they ever did, can you imagine? Because it was like a Blade Runner. It was the grittiest and the darkest of all the entire trilogy, the entire series.
It was.
And if they did it now, can you imagine what it would be like with all our new technology? Holy shit.
Well, didn't they try to do that? They re-released them with all this added shit. Like you look at the Mos Eisley Cantina in Mos Eisley, the station. Now it's all these taller buildings and creatures running around in the redo, which I thought was stupid. Just leave it. They didn't need that shit.
When they redid it, they had Greedo shooting first instead of Han Solo, or vice versa. I forget. They changed that whole scene. Yeah. Go back and watch it. Oh, you already knew? Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But I don't care. I don't care who shot first.
If they both shot even close to the same amount of time, they both would have been vaporized.
Exactly. But we don't want. We all know that the hero Han Solo is not going to get shot.
Well, no, but okay, just cover your ears again if you haven't seen 7. But his son does run a lightsaber through him later on. Who, incidentally, I don't know if you're aware of this. When I was teaching martial arts, I was a drill instructor for 3 years in San Diego. Well, Adam Driver was a recruit of mine once. He went through Marine Corps boot camp. I don't know, after we graduated, I don't know how long he stayed a Marine. He probably got out. He might have bought out his own contract and pursued his acting career. But so at the time, I was the primary martial arts instructor. Oh.
Can you hear that? If you listen, you'll hear everyone banging pots and pans outside, which is a tribute to the nurses and the doctors and the stuff that are dealing with COVID-19. It's a little something we do here every day at 7 p.m. As we run out, everyone runs outside, bangs pots and pans in honor of the nurses and the doctors and all the people in the essential services industry for having to deal with this. So that's pretty cool.
See, that's going to be something that goes into the history books, that kind of event. I wonder if there's something similar like with the Spanish flu, bubonic plague, if people went out at a certain time each day and did something like to make the evil devils of infirmity go away. But this one is honoring our caregivers, which is just damn awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all going crazy out there now.
That's
every day, 7 p.m. they do it. You can hear it, eh, guys? Here, let me see if
Do you ever get out there and do it?
I have, yes, of course.
You know, I'm often thanked for my service. For military, cops often get thanked, but you know what? The caregivers never get thanked for their service. In times like this is especially one of those times to just go out of your way. If you've got a nurse friend or someone that works in elderly care hospice or a virologist, someone actually working to eradicate this, those are the true warriors. I've always said, my line of work, you can train a monkey to pull the trigger.
Yep.
It's not that goddamn difficult. Taking lives is so much easier than saving lives, and it's more respect to those people.
That's why I donate blood, my friend, because saving lives. Well, guess what? Guess what we did, Jim? We made it for an hour. We made it over an hour.
We bullshitted our way through an hour. When really my deconversion story only lasted 11 minutes.
Right, and it wasn't really even a deconversion. We were just talking about things that people tried to influence Jim with in his early years. Right? And
that's why I decided
martial arts. You had all the Eastern Woo shit to deal with, and so.
Yeah. Well, that's why I decided to leave the show so I could have that, so I could pad the time with that official announcement. No, I'm just joking. It just so happened, and I thought, hey, who better than Neil the 604 Atheist to give that exclusive to? Not that it's a huge deal, but now everyone knows, and the show keeps going. So for our patrons, everyone says for our Patreons. That's not correct. It's patrons that donate to Patreon. For those of you, hey, don't panic. The show's going to keep going. It might be in a little bit limited capacity until Courtney and Chris get their feet underneath them, because honestly, I mean, it's a three-way effort, but I'm the editor, the cameraman, and we all have our jobs. And Courtney is beautiful with lighting. If Courtney is not the one that sets up our lighting, our green screen is always fucked. So we always rely on her. But, it will suffer a little bit, but I think they'll get their feet under them.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Well, I hope that you have a change of heart at some point after your hiatus and you do come back, and at least for a little while longer, Jim, because we'd miss you, man. Fucking when I was thrilled to meet you last year at the Faithless Forum, shook your hand and all that, and was able to be a part of one of your little endeavors while you were down there. And it was a pleasure to do it.
I wish you lived closer to Texas, man, because you are we're the same age. We think we can read each other's minds, it seems. Can you imagine just living near each other? It's crazy. We have the exact same number of beers. We put the exact same number of beers on our table just now to what we thought we were going to drink during the interview. Everything's crazy. If you were here, it'd be awesome.
I'd probably be a part of your show if I lived out that way.
Hell, oh God, we could just merge.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine? That'd be awesome.
I could be the guy of the Atheist Edge that does these interviews for him, right? So there you go.
Oh, David Worley doesn't know the announcement. Shit, I'm not gonna.
Why don't we,
David?
Dave, why don't you jump in the after party and he'll reiterate in the after party?
Ooh, yeah, David Worley in the after party. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, my friend Donna, who lives in my province, by the way, relatively close to me, literally probably 45 minutes away. We have healthcare here in Canada, which is something you guys are lacking down there, unless you can afford it.
I never get you confused with Prophet Azad, but for some reason I always think both of you live in Alaska. It takes me a minute. Oh no, he's in British Columbia. For some reason, I think you live in Alaska. I don't know why.
I could go visit Zod. Let's put it that way. If I drove for about 9 hours, I could go and see Zod. That's
9 hours. Jesus, that's a ways.
Yeah, well, it's up the whole BC coast to where he is.
Oh yeah.
Right.
If I drove
And-
9 hours north, I wouldn't even make it to Denver.
Well, I'm probably going to drop in on the two folks that run Divine Disbelief show, Nathaniel and Susan.
Yeah. Again, with I'm not going to say anything. I will not speak ill of the dead or absent. So I will just shut my mouth. And again, histrionics and let me just forget I even heard you say that. And Steve, Dark Matter and Jim would make a great Marine tag team. It just so happens Dark Matter 2525 and possibly Aaron Raw, probably not, but Dark Matter is the one YouTube atheist you definitely wouldn't want to tangle with in real life. Because if you look at that guy's ears, they're all cauliflowered up. You know he's been on the mat a lot. That dude probably knows his shit.
Oh yeah. He's
the only one that really physically intimidates me. He's a scary individual, but nice as shit. Anyway, sorry. Oh yeah. So Susan and Nate, yeah, we've butted heads. I'm not gonna lie, but
yeah, I know.
You know what? The door is open for even that bridge to get a little bit of water thrown on it.
Well, listen, man, I always say we're not all going to get along. It's just that's a bottom line. That's an actual fact. Not everyone in the community is going to get along. I personally try to get along with as many of them as I can, but I've been stabbed in the back by a couple here and there, and I just push them to the side and continue on with the people that I do have respect for. And you're one of them. So,
thank you, brother.
Yeah, you were awesome as fuck to me, a relatively unknown at the time when I was down in Texas. So right then and there, you garnered my respect.
You're on a trajectory to far surpass us, just like Cyrus the Skeptic did. So, and I wish, and it's a win-win for everyone.
Cyrus is awesome. He's hilarious.
Cyrus and I were both 300 subs at that first Faithless Forum, and now what is he? I don't even want to look. It's fucking crazy.
I know he's up there. He's getting up there. But see, he's got a great sense of humor. He talks about relevant things, so it's not surprising. And I love it when I got to go on him and Ocean when they did their Hammered Out show that they do. I got to be on that, which was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Yeah. So, and just so you know, guys, tomorrow morning at, I believe it's 10 a.m. my time. So work that out for yourself. So I'm going to be on David Worley's show. This will be my second tour of duty on his show. And then later on at about 12:15 in the afternoon, my time, you can work that out again, which is Pacific time, by the way. I am going to be on Math Pig show. So it should be a lot of fun tomorrow. It's going to be an exciting, eventful day for yours truly here. Anyways, Jim, thank you.
Thank you, brother,
so much for coming on. And
it was a blast.
Yeah, we blew the hour out of the water, by the way, because it's almost an hour and 3, 2, 1, 8 minutes right there. So
you think I'm bad to have Courtney on next time?
Well,
all you will do is you'll end up asking her one question, and then she will spend the rest of the hour answering it.
I like it. I like it a lot. Let them both know. Let everyone on the show know that I'd love to have them. I still have some spots available. All right. Oh, and that reminds me, if anyone is free on Monday, I had someone back out because of this whole COVID-19 thing. She's now under quarantine and she's with her very religious family that do not know she's an atheist. So she was worried about doing my show because they'll be around. So I have a spot available on Monday at 4 p.m. Pacific if anyone would like to jump in and share their story with us. Okay? Just to let you guys know. I'm going to put that announcement out there on Twitter as well, by the way. Well, anyway, yeah, let's jump into the after party. We still got beers to drink, my friend.
Yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about.
If any of you guys would like to join Jim and myself for the after party, please let me know through Twitter or Facebook if you're not on Twitter, and I'll send you a link. We only have room for about 4 other people other than Jim and myself, so consider that. I might have you in the green room until a space becomes available and we can slot people in and out. All right. So anyways, thanks guys for hanging out with Jim and I hope you guys enjoyed the show as much as we did doing it. Until next time, like I always say at the end of these things. Oh, and by the way, check out all the links below for Jim. The only one I didn't do because I completely fucking forgot that you had books out. So I'll eventually amend that. But I've got Jim's Patreon there. I got the Atheist Edge YouTube channel. I've got his Facebook, his Twitter down there, all the relevant links. So go and check them out. And until next time, guys, like I always say, the things like the late great Christopher Hitchens once said, it's called faith because it's not knowledge. And we'll see you guys next time.